it's Mike Zawatsky with Unique Photo. I'm over here at the Canon booth at WPPI with Steven Inglima, who's the head of the Canon Explorer of Light program. And I just wanted to ask him a couple of questions about the Explorers of Light and some of the Canon products. So, Steven, do you want to just explain what the Explorer of Light program is?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. I'm glad you asked me that question. Explorers of Light is a professional photographers and cinematographers advocacy program, if you will. These are working professionals who are of the highest industry standing, whose work is not only excellent but is admired by all of their peers as well as all of the disciplines of photography that they represent. And these folks are generally the photographers that other people aspire to be. The fact that they use Canon is very powerful, and we send them to various functions, trade shows, museums, galleries, trade organizations, etc., to talk about their work, what they do, and in the process, of course, for Canon, the benefit is that they show the cameras as being a material part of how they capture the images that they do. So it's a very strong public relations vehicle for Canon. It's a good educational vehicle as well.
Okay, and that's really great. What Canon does is not just make amazing products, you also do print and video, and there's so many other things beyond just the SLRs and the lenses. Do you want to talk a little bit maybe about the Pro 1?
Sure. Well, we could talk about the Pro 1, but you bring up another interesting point in that Canon, at this point, has such a complete imaging solution from start to finish that it is possible to capture an image with a Canon product through a Canon lens, to be able to process in Canon software, to be able to output to Canon printers, and there's really a complete Canon in and out workflow. So Canon is doing some pretty amazing things and moving even out of just still photography deeply into video and video production stuff. So Canon is going to be one of the most important players in the imaging world, if not already. So it's a very exciting time to be a Canon. Now, specifically about the Pro 1, Pro 1 represents an interesting departure for Canon, who had been working towards wide format and a specific kind of ink set, but this represents something that's even more radical, more different in that they're looking for a huge range, dynamic range, and the ability to print in black and white, almost emulating any silver halide print, if not exceeding its dynamic range capability, because of the multiple gray and black ink sets. So in this venture, we're able to get inkjet prints that rival anything that silver halide has done, and the color is also quite spectacular with good image stability as well. So it's a pretty remarkable new little device.
Yeah, and that's certainly something I know from starting in the darkroom, is that for a long time photographers have wanted to get back to that quality that they got out of a silver gelatin print. So you're saying the Pro 1 quality could actually exceed that of silver gelatin?
Yes, it's quite possible that that's true. I mean, there's a lot of different silver halide processes and toning and palladium and platinum printing, etc. But even in respect to that, this is an inkjet that has so many different nuances in shades of gray, from the very lightest with detail in highlights to detail in shadows, that it does emulate the best of what you could have done on average with a silver halide print. So it's pretty remarkable stuff. I want to add that we're also showing a new entrance, Canon, into the cinematography world with the C300. This is a huge revolution in that while the 5D Mark II camera has kind of revolutionized independent filmmaking with its small form factor and huge sensor size, this represents a true, intentionally designed for cinematography video camera with also not only a huge dynamic range and ridiculously high ISO capability and low noise, but the ability to have a color codec that more replicates the non-compressed type of video cinematography-like shooting. So it uses a unique way of gathering the color information rather than debayering a typical Bayer color pattern color algorithm, and it actually derives this information so accurately that it's possible to shoot this camera in a green screen environment with no artifacting, which is completely revolutionary. It was also designed with a tremendous amount of input from Explorers of Light, who actually, as cinematographers, have made their wishes known. If they were asked, what would you dream of if you could have a camera of your choice? How would you want it to function? What inputs would you want? What controls would you like, etc.? They gave all their information, and it was made. So here we are. You can also see the C300 camera here as well as the XF camera. So we've got tremendous outreach in motion capture as well.
So that's really great, and that's what I found interesting about that. Something I didn't know was you said the sensor doesn't use standard Bayer array on it. So how does that work actually?
Well, how it works is that if you take, and if you can imagine, normally with a Bayer color pattern, you have a red, green, red, green, red, green line, and you have a blue, green, blue, green, blue, green line, and what's behind each of the pixels, if there's nothing present, there's an interpolated color information that's assigned to pixels with nothing in it based on what's captured in the surrounding pixels. In this case, a group of 4 pixels are binned together so that all of the red information in that cluster is known, all the blue information, and even more importantly, the 2 greens that are present in that 4-pixel cluster are compared for what could be fixed pattern noise and subtracted out. So now you have 2 references, both for green and luminance, where you're getting referenced which is real information and which might be introduced by the synthetic processing or the silicon itself. So the result is very, very clean images at up to ISO 20,000. That's what allows that to happen.
Yeah, I forget what site it was on, but I actually saw one of the video samples from the C300, and I was blown away. I couldn't believe how clean it looked at such a high ISO.
Yeah, and the little videos, little movies that were made that Canon commissioned to kind of demonstrate this capability with 4 different directors shows the range of possibilities, from some really gritty stuff like Max's Back, where they're shooting in automobiles and under very low light conditions, green screen capability in the Sam Nicholson's movie Exit, and of course Mobius, Vincent Laforet's entrance, where interviews were done, things were done inside a vehicle where the dynamic range is just simply impossible, with very bright light outside of the window and fairly dark inside the car, and still able to preserve that. So it's showing this capability. Already now can be viewed online at Vimeo, etc. You can see all of these movies. Quite great to be in the middle of all of this. It's a good time to be.
Yeah.
A good time to be in the imaging world, and it's certainly a good time for us to be at Canon.
Yeah, all right. We're definitely seeing a lot of progress now. I think for a while there was kind of just a short, stagnant period, but I'm really excited to see a lot of growth and progress. And I really appreciate you taking the time to do the interview.
Man.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, man.